Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Amnesia. One of my worst nightmares. Great. So, hold on, let me get my glasses. Don't drop it on the gingerbread. Don't drop it on that whole bag of gingerbread that I plan to eat at some point. Also, due to this morning, I actually didn't eat breakfast. I was making myself just a bowl of noodles, and this is still left over from this morning because I didn't manage to eat them. So, I'll be eating those throughout the stream. But yeah, continue previously played game? Well, I have no choice. That's the entire premise of this stream. Now here's the thing. One, I'm lowering the volume. Two, I still... Right. I have no oil. Right. Okay, so where is, like, the switch or whatever it is? Also, my sanity doesn't seem to be doing so well. Head's pounding and hands are shaking. Cool. Where am I supposed to go again? Ow. I need you to do that. Barely conscious. So how exactly does the monster work? Because I just don't get it. Like, I honestly just don't get it. This thing right here follows the sound of what you do, which is understandable. It moves based on auditory cues. But then the thing is, well, that's okay. But then the thing is, with this audio cue, I can barely do anything.
Hello, I'm Mikko Tarmia, the composer from Amnesia,
and I think
The Dark Descent.
the lever or whatever it would be
You may have
is
heard
in
my
there.
music before if you played the Penumbra game series.
So I'll have
and
to
I did a
go
couple
ahead
of
and
tracks for Penumbra Tech Demo too. So this is my 5th project with Friction
Yeah,
Games,
it is.
and I'm happy to be a part of the team.
Okay. So, let me grab a book. I would be running. Thank you very much. Are there two of them? Did you just, or did you like come from another way? If there's two of these things.
You're a wizard, Harry!
Oh, right. I forgot I was in a party with you. I just started to record Amnesia, and I was like, oh, hey! Alright, well, I'm gonna go do this on my own. I'll see you later. Try to distract this thing. Body parts. Lovely. Like, lovely. Absolutely lovely. Yes, Harry. Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Am I barely conscious again? I am. Oh, that's food. Okay, so I get it now. I understand. That's the wrong... Nope. Cannot do that. Pop into this. Alright, but I understand what I have to do now. So... Distract the monster. Thought I would have gone for something that didn't move. But that is oil. Crap, how do I do this? Had something done to it. Hollow needle. What does it do? Strong. Alright. Oh. What do I do with it? Ow. It's locked with a symbol. I know what I do with it. Did it. Sunlight brushed against his leg, and he felt himself being dragged along by the current of the beast. pushed himself above the surface. Help! He cried as the ocean swallowed him again.
Hi, I am Tapio, and I made monster sounds and vision sounds for this game. Yeah, I just love this monster. I think it was pretty fun to make because there was underwater sounds as well as sounds from the above. I think I wanted it to sound like a very big monster, but still very fast. And I thought that voice itself needed to be high-pitched screaming because water is splashing around and messing other sounds. Actually, a great example is the attack sound where there is big water splash as it jumps from the water. At the same time, you can hear a short scream sound which is made from the cat sounds. I think it works great. I think other great sound is when it's just eating in the level. You can hear it eating meat and hear the bones crashing under the water. I made the eating sounds by walking in the water and breaking dry wooden sticks. The sound itself didn't need much processing or editing because it sounded almost like you hear now. Well, this is Water Monster, so I recorded lots of water sounds. For example, bubble sounds are made with a watering can, which is sunken in the water. And when it's chasing the player, its movement is made by a big rock, which I just threw in the lake. It feels like it's running after you or hitting its big hands on the water. I think there is lots of power in this monster.
Hey, Drake. How much is up?
This level is the high point of the lurker build-up, which sort of started in an entrance level with the slime appearing. It's supposed to be a sort of roller coaster ride and is designed to be easy enough to be completed on the first try. Yet, it should also be stressful. Many of the things in a level that seems like you barely make it are just scripted to be that way. But it's nothing you notice because they're blended in with the truly deadly stuff.
Whoa! Wait! It's following me? What do I do? What do I do? Okay, He follows. Okay, so this thing can follow us. Block the path. Does that mean shut the door again? No, it can't mean shut the door again. Really? That was heathens. That was just precious. That was awesome. Alright, so how we're gonna do this is we have to run. And we just need to run.
This is the second hub level of the game, and is supposed to give some contrast to the stressful lurker encounter. We think building up contrast like this is extremely important for the horror mood. Only by seeing a bright level can you appreciate the dark one, and so on. If you do not do this, player will get used to the stuff and the effect will lessen greatly.
So we can't do that. We did escape, so that's good. We need to go looking around for some oil. Above all else. Storage, there's probably a good bit of oil in there. Maybe 1 or 2 jars, which would actually not last at all. But it would still be oil. See, I'm starting to think of this as like a survivor kind of thing. Like, most of the games that I play nowadays are just like, you kill and just do this. Yeah, and some of them that I play are actually survival kind of things. I have to get into that mindset again.
In the original pitch, Herbert was a fairly important character, but it didn't really reflect in the games, so we tried a few different things to incorporate him, but it never really made any sense. Herbert was important to Daniel's background, but in the end he didn't have any impact on the story happening right now, that is, the conflict between Daniel and Alexander. So most of his things was cut during the last stage of production.
I don't know if we've met the entirety, or if there's gonna be more. Returned the teacup to the saucer, picked up the orb as one wooden apple, pondered on the strange happenings. Probably would as well. Oh, what am I saying?
My journal is gone. What would they want with my journal?
Whoever would want the journal. Well, yes. Well, I knew there'd be some in one of these rooms. How much?
Daniel is a pretty complicated character to write for, as we didn't want the player to feel that they were losing control by having feelings imposed on them. After the amnesia kicks in, everything which is Daniel is essentially gone. The player is the new Daniel, and he should be able to act the way he pleases, and even reject his own background as he discovers it. That is why everything concerning Daniel is flashbacks. Even the diary entries are read as what is being told is happening right now.
I continued reading.
It is the old Daniel telling the story, and not the player reading it.
Every night.
We'll put a stop to them. You'll see. If you listen to the music tracks more carefully, you may find that characters have their own musical themes, which can usually be heard when you read papers during the game. These themes appear in many variations, so it's not always so easy to recognize them immediately. And in the end of the game, some of these themes will go quite insane. Oh, and that's Daniel's theme, which you can hear in the game's menu screen. Let me play it to you with piano.
Alright, so we are learning about these guys.
When we create props, we usually have concept pictures or reference images to look at when modeling the object, just to make sure it stays within the art style that we are going for. When creating a chair, a table, or a bookcase, just to name a few, we usually have to plan the measurements before we get them into the game, because having something in the game that isn't the right size can break the immersion. But sometimes you have to cheat that and test it out, because the camera perspective can really trick you. I have the perfect example of the camera tricking you sometimes. Take out the lantern in-game and look at the wall or an object in the same height as the lantern and try guessing how big the lantern will be next to that object. Then walk up as close as you can to that object and compare. If you got a good example out of this, you see that the hand and lantern is in fact very small, but it feels right when it's close to the camera. But we don't want to go on gut feeling on the measurements of every object. That could really get out of hand quickly, and a lot of things could feel out of place. So it's basically a matter of changing the scale if it feels weird. When modeling the prop, we try to make it as close as the reference images as we can, or if you've got a sketch, that is. It's often a quite simple process that usually doesn't take that much time, but it completely depends on what it is and if the sketch we have are detailed. Before giving the model a texture and working on that, we need to create a UV map for it. A UV map can best be described as an image with painted and edited details to it that is wrapped around the object. So the texture for a cardboard box, for example, would look like a box that you have unfolded onto the ground. After the UV map is created, we start to work on the texture. And here, we usually start with adding untouched materials like wood or metal, and these are from free photos found on the internet. We also paint in dirt in corners, highlights on the edges to enhance them. We can also bake and add an ambient occlusion map to the texture, which is basically a process where the computer calculates where the texture should be dark and where it should be light. We often generate a normal map based on certain details in the texture. A normal map uses light to add bumps or dents without using more polygons on the object. For specular maps, we use the red channel for the intensity level of the map and the green channel to determine the power of it. After all the textures are done, we export them to collada format and import them to our editors. There, we set material values, create bodies for collision, and stuff like that.
Alright. That was like 3 minutes of my life. But, hey. Hi, bug. If you gotta eat, you go ahead. You know? Besides, you know I want you to eat whenever you need to. You don't gotta tell me that you might need to go and eat. We're stuck due to a broken lock. That was a memo, too. The heck? Memento. The lock is broken, find another way to open the closet door in the guest room. Would it be the crowbar? It is. No, it isn't. No? Huh.
In this room, everything is connected to destruction and home. This was Daniel's home as Alexander's guest, and the diary entries are about Daniel being home in London and things falling apart. These sort of connections are not something that we want the player to get. Rather, it should end up in the subconscious and work toward building the mood. Also worth noting is this focus, as explained in the commentary of Winecellar, where we want the player's attention on a certain aspect. We hope this makes the story clearer. The idea is to slowly build it up, one part at a time, giving the player time to digest and think about it.
Alright, so I want to see this. Hey, what does this look like? What is... There we go. Interesting. Now, what was that about this memento? Hey, Shadow. The important key is hidden in the guest room.
4th of July, 1839. It's done. The orb is assembled. I was awakened by an exhausting nightmare. Shaking and sweating, I retired to the drawing room with a cup of tea. The relic pieces lay spread across the table as I'd left them, but somehow I knew how it was supposed to be. I fetched the tar, which I had prepared to fix the pieces together, and without fault I joined them, producing the orb I remembered so clearly. The tar proved unnecessary. It was pushed out from the joining pieces as they merged on their own, with no adhesive. The ancient stone relic now rests on my table. Its immaculate surface and perfect shape could have been molded by a factory. This is all too strange.
So, there's an orb in here, apparently, that has a perfect shape, and its design. And no danger, my ass. Give me that there's no danger thing. I don't want to go out there. So, hold on, let me go to the bathroom real quick. I meant to do that before I started streaming, but then, you know. Alright, I'm back. Hold on, didn't it say there's an important key in here? And if it did, then where would it be? In one of these? Then is it something here? There's this key somewhere. I need to find it. But I don't know where it could be. What's the memento say? It says, important keys hidden in the guest room. Where do you think I am? I'm in the guest room, though. That's the thing I don't get. Like, I'm in the guest room. Where could it possibly be that I haven't been before? I don't understand.
Thank God, there it is. I guess it is a good place to hide it then.
Hiding. Machine room key. Interesting. That was a machine room key. Huh. Because I feel like the study has some. Also, in about 15 minutes, we are actually going to be stopping streaming because I did say last time that I would do another hour of it. And that hour has just about passed. So, whenever the hour is officially over, I will be ending this stream. And in that time, I would hope that you guys did enjoy. I would hope that you had enjoyed, and if you did, well, great. This just means that I might actually have to end up doing more. Please, don't enjoy. Not this one. Tinderbox. Why, thank you. I'll take the tinderboxes, because then I can do this. Can't lie, as it would be nice if I had some oil. Another tinderbox.
This map was one of the most fun to make because of the rooms have more objects than we usually add in the level. I think the first 2 rooms was pretty good, just because of this. But we can't add this many objects in every room in the game, because that would, first of all, be very demanding on your PC's performance, and a lot of our players doesn't have gaming rigs. Secondly, it wouldn't make sense if every room or corridor was a storage. We also try very hard to vary the levels and rooms as much as we can do. This level was also the first time in the game the player had any contact with the outside. So for this part I had to make a couple of different wall pieces, a pine tree and a breakable version of the window. And I can talk a little bit more about the breakable window here. When creating breakable objects like this, we have to first of all break the model by splitting parts up and creating pieces. Like on this window, it has a lot of wood parts that are loose after it breaks. Those parts are remodeled into broken versions, and in the broken version of the window they're actually hanging in the air at the same place they were when the window was whole. After modeling those and exporting the model into collada format, which our engine handles, I use our in-house model editor to set each wood part up with a body for collision, and I also add weight for it to behave realistically. I also add material type, in this case wood. and that is so that wood sound is played when the beats hit something. You can also set up more advanced stuff like how it will behave in water, how fast it can travel, and how fast the speed will decay, but also a lot of other settings as well. But when that broken version is done, I also set up a special entity of the original window where I set it to break at a certain force, and when that happens another entity will load and this one will disappear. And in this case we load the broken version of the window. We also set it up so a particle system with glass shards is going to be played as well as a break sound. And as soon as you break that window and all that is happening, and since you probably threw something at the window, the force of that object will make the wood pieces fly and not fall straight to the ground as they would otherwise. That is pretty much how we do it with most breakable entities. But of course, creating a particle system and sounds for this is needed too. And in this level, you can also see a lot of props that I made earlier before we started making maps. This is objects like shelves, tables, chairs, paintings, etc. But of course I didn't make all the objects in this level.
What could possibly be down this way?
The decision to have the player go outside in this map started out as a quick and dirty idea for some sort of puzzle. However, it turned out very nicely, and to see the trees really gives a feeling of being in a castle and not just on some set. The first idea was not even to have the player break the window and just have it open directly instead. But when we added it, we felt it gave a really nice feel and reward for finishing the puzzle. In retrospect, we should have had more moments when the player ventures outside, and it gives this feel of being a part of a larger world.
Well, let me tell you, I really don't want to be a part of this larger world in this game. What does this have to do with anything? Breaks down again. Make sure you use the steam engine to build up pressure before channeling it into the machinery. Okay, Trinity steam set functions, 4-phase amplitude, and complete steam flow cycle. still don't know what a lot of this has to do with anything. Curious enough to find that out, but I really know I shouldn't. What is this? Chemist lupus familiar. After a short study, it's clear that the agitation found among humans can be found in the dog. Fear and pain induce stress, which seems to trigger an indigenous response, causing the animal to burst with energy. I believe that the catalyst is produced in the brain. It's difficult to determine exactly where and what it is, but I can sense it. It reeks of cosmic genesis. There's an inherent problem in harvesting this energy, since the creature is bound to die from the exercise. I must refine this process of torture to enable any real work to be done. More experiments must be performed, but it seems that only human beings are able to produce the amount necessary. It might be their ability to appreciate the severity of the process that ultimately augments their experience of terror. What the hell? You know, I can't tell you why, but I feel as though this is a bad idea. I actually got it. That was completely an accident. Nice. Huh. The Antiquarian's latest findings yield nothing. I'm still unable to grasp the inner workings of life and its relation to the power I sense within it. I shall pursue more books on the subject, but I suppose it will be in vain. Since no research has been made in my particular interest, I must attempt to fill that void myself. Clearly, humans emanate more of the energy I seek, but I hope animals will suffice, as they would prove less of a hassle to acquire. Did they not suffice? Did that break? Also, I can hear something just absolutely bawling out in the like foyer or something. Now let me see something. So, I take a single skull, pop it in the fire. Does anything happen to it? If not, then wasted time. If it does, well, okay. There's a book. Can you burn the book? Can you burn the chair? No. It does not fit. I didn't expect it to, but I wanted to try it. And also, you guys, I'm gonna end this here. If you did enjoy, and I hope that you did, even if I may not like the game, let me know. I need to know if you guys enjoy this type of thing, because only 2 of my friends have expressed that they actually enjoy horror. So if you guys do enjoy horror and you've made it this far, let me know down in the comments if you do enjoy this. If you do, I might actually do more of it. If you don't, you won't see anything unless my friends request it. One in particular, because I owe her a good few days worth of videos. Oh, we're like 4 more days. Dang it. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.